It's the questions. It's the questions, boy. It's the questions. It's the questions. Come on, the questions. It's the questions, boy. It's the questions. It's the questions. Yeah, it's the questions. It's the questions, y'all. It's the questions. It's the questions. Dig it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. And thank you for subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I'm 12 Kyle. Check this out. On this episode, we have a special episode. This week's guest is no stranger to the podcast. She's been on here a few times. She's making her annual visit to the 12 Kyle podcast. We will be talking to my better half, my lovely wife of, at the time of this recording, 21 years, almost about to be 22 years, Sherice. Sherice, what's up?
Hey, what's going on with you?
Why are you trying to sound professional? Just talk.
I am talking.
Like, hey, what's going on with you?
Yeah. What else am I supposed to say?
Nothing. You're supposed to say, man, what up, man? What's going on?
No.
You doing all right?
I'm well. Yourself?
I'm good. I'm doing even better now that I can look at you. So don't blush.
Why are you being silly?
I'm not being. This is the podcast. This is what I do. This is who I am. Anyway, I wanted to bring you on because we're gonna talk about the questions.
It's the questions. It's the questions, boy. It's the questions. It's the questions. Come on.
Right? It's just questions. Get to pick your brain a little bit. As I mentioned earlier, for those who don't know, we've been married forever. We dated in college. We have 4 beautiful kids, and we've spent a lifetime together. But, there are some things that, some things I know, some things I don't know. I want to say a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about tonight, I may know, and you may know about me, but we'll see. But just answer the questions like you would any other questions. So the first question I have for you, if you had to describe yourself, would you describe yourself as an introvert or an extrovert?
I am an introvert.
Why do you say that? You think so?
I know so. I am an introvert.
Okay. So am I an introvert or an? Well, how would you describe me as an introvert or an extrovert?
You're definitely an extrovert.
I think I can be shy and quiet at times. You know that, especially when I'm around people I don't know.
No, there's nothing shy or quiet about you, and you don't meet a stranger. Everyone is a real cool person.
That's because I don't have beef with people.
You don't have to have beef or to just be like, oh, it's a really cool person. No, they're not a really cool person.
There's some assholes, and I'll tell you when I meet assholes.
Yeah, but usually you don't meet assholes. Everyone is a real cool cat, or that kind of thing. So
okay.
But why do you think I'm not an extrovert? An introvert, excuse me.
I don't think you're an introvert because I think like your personality is very bubbly and very warm. So like I don't see you like that. Now, granted, I get a chance to see a side of you that most people don't see, but like no, I don't. When I thought about it, I was like, no, I can see how maybe sometimes in certain settings, maybe you could be an introvert, but I don't. You're too outgoing for that, and you're especially outgoing when you're talking to people and you're around people, familiar and family members and friends and stuff like that.
Okay.
You don't agree?
No, because even with family and friends, sometimes I don't want it, so I just want to be to myself. So yeah.
Okay.
But I understand why you think that. A lot of people think that about me, but I'm on when I'm on, and then when I'm not, I'm off. So.
Okay. As a little kid, how would you describe yourself as a little kid?
I was basically an only child, so describe myself.
You were an only child until you were about 10.
Until I was 10. So I was alone most of the time. So very vivid imagination. I played a lot by myself. So I made the most of that.
Okay. Me as a little kid, I don't know. I was happy go lucky. I was kind of quiet at times, but um, I wasn't the life of the party, anything like that. I was the kid that kind of blended in, I guess. Um, but I had a lot of fun. Ran, obviously with my cousins and my little brother. Um, so I had that, family, that built-in family atmosphere, probably from day one, really. Uh, but no, I think I was a cool little kid from what I remember. I had a great childhood, so I can't complain about. Um, Now let's go to high school. How were you in high school? Because you get a little older, friends, not so friends, boys come involved. I mean, how were you in high school?
Um, I mean, I think I was a part of the Cool Kids Club in high
Oh yeah,
school.
you were definitely part of the Cool Kids Club in high
You
school.
know, I mean, everybody talked to me, even people I didn't necessarily want talking to me. I mean, not to say like I did have people who didn't particularly care for me, and I am one that either you like me or you don't, which is fine. Yeah, but just a well mix of like diverse groups of people. So not just black friends, not just white friends or what have you. The clothes I wore.
Is that a shot at me?
That is not a shot at you. However, you a little bit militant or what have you at times.
I just didn't have a lot of white friends. I had like
Well,
one.
I mean, and then I also dressed differently. I wore, clothes that traditionally, black kids didn't necessarily wear. So
Like what?
in the South back then, people weren't wearing black kids weren't wearing Vans.
Oh yeah, I forgot you. California
Yeah.
girl, you got Vans on.
Yeah, I mean, like my style was just totally different, because we were really free with our clothes and stuff. I mean, of course, I rock my Cortez and what have you. No.
Me in high school, I think I was one of the cool kids. Kind of popular. Uh, Played football, played, really highly active. High school was a lot of fun for me. I just going through the changes of any other young man. But I had a great group of friends that I hung out with and still tight with it to this day. And I don't know. I don't really. It's. I know that I'm a different person, now as opposed to high school. But I think that was like when whoever I was going to become. I think I started becoming who that was, or at least getting to know who I was going to become in high school. Okay. Again, we're talking about the questions.
It's the questions. It's the questions, boy. It's the questions. It's the questions. Come on. The questions.
So the next question is, what was the best vacation that you've been on?
Oh, wow. Best vacation.
And it doesn't have to involve me.
I mean, that's fine. Ooh, that is tough. That is tough. Essence Festival one year was really up there.
I've never been.
Got to kick it with Dougie Fresh and Biz Marquee, R.I.P.
Rest in peace. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool because they were in our hotel, and then it was like, oh, well, you guys seem real cool, and we ended up like at a show because we had backstage and we had already had tickets or whatnot, and they were like, come on back. It's like, oh my gosh, so that was pretty cool. For the hip hop heads or what have you, that was pretty cool.
Okay. So Essence Festival in New Orleans.
Yeah, that was. I mean, and I say that was the best vacation. That was the best vacation because that was like my first vacation as a grown up.
Mhm.
In my early 20s, that was my first little vacation um, on my own. So
Um, it's kind, when I think about my best vacations, probably like you said, like my first vacation. I can no, I take that back. It's not. I won't say that's the best. Um, Probably the best vacation I had was the vacation where we went to LA. And we took the kids to LA last year. That's probably the best vacation I've had. The reason
it
being is,
wasn't Disney. It wasn't
huh?
Disney. It wasn't Disney.
No, man. When we went to
Disney World. Went to Disney World.
No, well, when we went to LA last year, we went to Disneyland. But no, when we went to Disney World, that was a fun vacation. But that vacation was tiring because we drove to Atlanta. I mean, not Atlanta. We drove from Atlanta to Orlando, and I just remember. You know what stands out to me about that vacation was we went to Disney 2 days, and my feet were killing me.
And it was
And
cold.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. We went in December. I mean, I had fun. Don't get me wrong. And I mean, like, I think one of the highlights was when we went to what's that princess name? I can't remember her name. The black princess,
Tiana.
When our daughter Skylar was what, 6 at the time, something like that.
Five.
5. And she's our only daughter. For those of you listening, she got a chance to see the black princess Tiana, and when I saw her face light up as we waited in line so she could take a picture with her, that was the highlight of the trip for me, just seeing her face and just seeing her light up, because you could kind of tell like that was her hero, or one of her, or Shiro, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, but we walked so much, man. My feet were, and I mean, like, I had on some brand new sneakers and some Nikes. I mean, like, my feet, I had walking shoes on. I mean, walking tennis shoes, but man, my feet were on fire. And so it was a great vacation, but no, I was tired when we got back to Atlanta. I needed another vacation from that vacation. But no, yeah, the vacation in LA that's probably the dopest one, because we got a chance to go back and see where you grew up, and the kids got a chance to see your side of the family, and just kicking it. I mean, LA was a great place. We went to Laker game, ran into my boy Baylor out there. Shout out to Baylor, and just had a ball. So that was probably the best one. I mean, we've had a lot of great vacations, but that's probably the best one. Question: what was your first job?
My first job was at Kentucky Fried Chicken.
And what did you do at KFC?
I was a cashier at KFC.
Oh, you wasn't slinging no yard bird?
No, I wasn't old enough to fry chicken. You had to be a certain age to fry chicken.
Okay.
But yeah, I think you might have had to be 17 maybe.
Okay.
But no, I was a cashier, so
So how old were you when you got this job?
15 or 16, I believe.
Okay.
I think it was 15 or 16.
Okay.
I wasn't driving yet, so my grandfather picked me up. Our grandfather picked me up and dropped me off, and yeah, those were fun times working at old today's KFC. That's what we called it.
Wow. My first job, and there's a podcast coming about that. My first job was at Video Warehouse. I was actually, what was I, 21? Something like that. Like, I was old. Like,
were you 21? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah. I was at Video Warehouse. I just about to finish college, and I was assistant manager at a video store, which was their main rival was Blockbuster at the time. And again, there's a podcast coming probably in the next couple of weeks. I just wrapped up a couple of days ago. But yeah, that job was dope.
Teases?
Huh?
You on here doing teases?
It's not a tease. It's just letting people know. Like, I'm not going to go into a deep dive about my first job, because there's a podcast coming called first
I see.
gig.
I see.
The questions.
It's the questions. It's the questions, boy. It's the questions. It's the questions. Come on. The questions.
Mm-hmm.
Who was your first celebrity crush?
My first celebrity crush was probably Ronnie DeVoe.
Oh Lord. Ronnie DeVoe? Nobody like Ronnie? You ain't like Ralph?
No, nobody like Ralph.
Nobody like Ralph.
No, but that's the thing. Everybody liked Ralph. Everybody liked Ralph. Everybody loved Bobby.
Oh, yeah.
But I just like Ron swag. Like he and it wasn't even swag back then. I don't even know what you would call it.
When did Ronnie DeVoe have swag in 85?
He was cute.
Okay, yeah, you can say that, but you don't say he had no swag. He had no swag in 85. He just had a Jerry curl.
Okay.
Oh man, that's funny. I would not. Now that's news to me. If somebody would have asked me who your first celebrity crush is, I wouldn't have said Ronnie DeVoe.
Who would you have said?
Johnny Gill.
No, he wasn't first.
Oh, excuse me.
It wasn't first.
Okay, so can you guess who my first celebrity crush was?
It was Janet Jackson.
Yes, Lord.
Charlene
Dupree.
Mm-hmm.
Penny Gordon. Yeah, man. Kim Fields probably a close second. Yeah, we used to love that. Those like the first black girls we saw on TV at that age. I mean, we saw Thelma, but Thelma was like, she was cute, but she was much, at least it appeared to me that she was older. But Penny seemed to be my age, at least when I saw it on TV, saw her on TV. And so, you know, I remember me and my friends, we were we were jealous of Willis Jackson because he was dating Charlene. Like we had a chance. And we used to always talk about that at school. Yeah, we used to talk about that all the time at school. Like we was going, one of my boys, shout out to my boy Derek, he said, he told me one day, he said he was going to beat Willis up if he ever saw him.
Oh, wow. Get it together, D.
I know. Question. What are your thoughts on love at first sight? Is that possible?
I believe it's possible. For certain people, it's possible. I think so. For you to see someone and fall in love with them.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the rest of it develops over time, just like with everything else. But yeah, I think it's possible.
I don't know. I think like love at first sight, like I think you end up loving what you see. I don't know if necessarily if you're falling for what you see. I get where you're coming from on that though. I don't know if I could just like, because even like, I mean like, well, celebrities are different because you hold them on a higher standard, but I don't know. I don't know if you can just fall in love at first sight. In love, like you could like what you see or really, really like what you see. That's interesting. That's an interesting piece there. Got another question.
It's the questions. It's the questions, boy. It's the questions. It's the questions. Come on. The questions.
What does your dream romantic getaway look like? I'm taking notes.
Definitely some blue water. Maybe like Bali, Maldives, something like that.
So that's it. Just that trip.
You said romantic vacation, right?
Romantic getaway.
Mm-hmm. I mean, were you talking about like the components of it?
Yeah, I mean anything that you want to say.
I mean,
Because like for me, I'll give you just so you can understand where I'm going with this question. Like for me, the most like a romantic getaway would be like I just come home and you like, hey, take off next week. And I'm like, okay, I take off next week. And I'm like, well, what, don't say nothing. We're going to the airport. Like, you don't even tell me where we're going. And we just land and I don't have no clothes and we got to buy clothes and just someplace blue. Like you said, where the water's blue on the beach. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. Are you taking notes?
I hope you taking notes. I hope you taking your own advice.
I got the pencil right here, writing it down. Got a number 2 pencil because they testing.
No, you should mark it down with a pen. You don't need to erase it.
Oh no, it won't be erased. It's in my handy dandy notebook.
Oh, okay.
Question: how important is sexual chemistry in a relationship?
Very important. Like, yeah, it's probably like 1 and 2.
I agree. I mean, we've talked about this before, and I'll say it again, and I've said it on this podcast before. Like it ain't sex ain't the most important thing, but it's pretty damn important. You know, particularly if you're talking about having a long term relationship and you want to be with somebody long term. You know, you don't want them. You want the compatibility to be there. So I agree with you 1,000% on that. Question.
It's the questions. It's the questions, boy. It's the questions. It's the questions. Come on. The questions.
How does your family celebrate holidays?
Well, growing up, you know, it was always a party.
Mm-hmm.
Even from, you know, lots of memories of us flying in for Thanksgiving, our Christmas from California, even the summers for family reunions or the 4th of July. It was always a big time. My uncles, you know, up all night, you know, with the pig, you know, the hog on out over open fire or whatever. The smells of the different dishes from, you know, my aunts, my grandmother, lots of fellowship, people visiting, you know, that you hadn't seen since the last time. But we celebrated pretty big every time we got together. Lots of alcohol, of course. But just a merry time, just a good time. Even now, I mean, it's sad to say, but even, you know, celebration of life, you know, homegoing service, you know, in celebrating, you know, a family member that's passed away, not a holiday necessarily, but, you know, celebrating the life of a loved one, or what have you. We're still, you know, it's a party. It's a party.
Okay. I agree. Same. You know, that was one of the things, even when we were dating, that I think was very important to me, that, you know, I realized really quickly that your family believed in getting together for holidays and having a good time when they were together. You know, sometimes it ain't always easy being around family. You know, like my late Uncle Sonny used to always say, sometimes with family, they make you happy twice. Happy to see them come, happy to see them go. But you know, it's always a festive affair. We had, you know, much similar things. Leaving from South Carolina, some of my fondest memories leaving South Carolina, going to New Jersey to see my family up there, and those memories will always stay with me. And I try to make sure, and we always try to make sure that our family gatherings, you know, for the holidays are festive, and, you know, and get that tradition going so that our kids get used to that and get used to being around each other. And especially as our kids are getting older now, you know, it's something we talk about from time to time. And it's something I've thought about, like I can't, like, you know, me, Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. So like there may be a Thanksgiving, where one of our kids or maybe a few of our kids, they're off with their families, having Thanksgiving somewhere. So that I ain't ready for that part because I wanted all of us to be together at Thanksgiving. But it's always a good time. Question.
It's the questions. It's the questions, boy. It's the questions. It's the questions. Come on. The questions.
Speaking of kids, did you always plan to have kids? And if so, how many kids did you plan to have in your mind, as growing up as a child?
Yeah, I mean, I always wanted to have children. I wanted to be a mom. And ironically, which is funny because we talked about it when we were dating and what have you, and you looked at me crazy like, ain't no way. And I was like, yeah, I want 4 children. Now, why 4 was the number? I have no earthly idea.
Right.
But 4 was the number. And I guess, looking back on it, being, an only child for, 10 years, my brother and I are 10 years apart. We basically grew up in different, times, right?
Right.
I think I'm what's the Gen Z and Gen X or whatever.
Don't ask me because
we're,
I don't know.
We're in 2 different generations. My
Right.
brother and I are in 2 different generations or what have you. So I always wanted to have children and that they could have, like friends, if you will, like buddies. It was supposed to be 2 girls and 2 boys,
Wow.
but such is life. But then, when we were pregnant with our oldest,
Dion,
I was like, oh yeah, this is good. I like this. This is good.
Right.
I was fine. And I told everybody, oh yeah, this is great. Dion, he is the best.
Right.
And next thing I know, there's 4. So,
well, it didn't happen like that. But
that's your fault.
no, it's not.
In my mind, yes. In my mind, it's like it was boom, boom, boom.
Slipped up, got pregnant.
It was, yep.
It's funny because like I knew for a fact I would always have a son. And like when I dreamed, it's kind of weird what I'm about to say, like, and I didn't really think about it subconsciously, but like growing up, I knew I'd be a father. And I knew, I'd be a husband, but I knew I'd be a father. Like father was always like right there, but then husband was like right beneath it shortly. Which is kind of weird to think like, cause that's not how I was raised to think. But, I remember when we found out we were pregnant with Dion and, you went to the doctor or whatever, and you told me it was a boy. I was like, you damn right it's a boy. Cause I just knew he had to be a boy. And I just remember we had Dion. It was like, our hearts were full, it's like, wow, we're parents. We for a while amongst our friends, we were the first ones to become parents. And and then Cameron came 3 years later, and I just remember I remember you saying like my heart is so full, like I don't know if I could love, like this. But when that little hammerhead came, that little blockhead boy came, with his circle face, and he looked just like you. It was like we were like, okay, we're setting, and I was like, okay, man, this is like me and Damon, my younger brother. They're 3 years apart. Me and Damon are 3 years apart. And then a couple of years later, here comes Brandon, and Brandon's born the day after my birthday, and he looked just like me. And so we got these 3 little boys, and I thought we was done. And everybody, oh, y'all gonna try to have a girl? Y'all gonna try? No, we good. Next thing you know, boom, boom, boom. Here comes Skylar. And that was a game changer. That was just different. She was just different. And it's just been, your bet came true. 4 kids. So we safe to say we're done. But yeah, that I didn't dream of 4, but I couldn't imagine not having these 4 because they have been everything. Question.
It's the questions. It's the questions, boy. It's the questions. It's the questions. Come on. The questions.
What has been the proudest moment of your career?
Oh. Ooh. Ah, proudest moment of my career. That's really tough.
How so? To me, it's easy. When I think about you,
Yeah, but I'm, the introvert that I am. I really don't pat myself
it's
on the
not
back.
about patting yourself on the back. You don't
But
even have.
but I know that it's not about it. But at the same time, I don't really, things that probably are like major accomplishments or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I just probably don't think of them as that. And then I'm like, oh, well, oh, that's not good. That's not good. That's not good to mention. So I'm just trying to reflect on, I mean, I've gotten awards or what have you and not really realized that I was doing the work or adding the value that, my employer thought felt like I was adding. So that's pretty cool. But work accomplishments, being able not to slap nobody. Now,
Well, hey, that's an accomplishment in and of itself sometimes, because people will test you. So, well, they don't test you, but people will test your gangster at work if they can.
Yeah.
So I think for me, at least when I think about you, I think your most recent accomplishment, your most recent job, I think has been the most accomplishment, just because of the process and everything that you went through to get there. That's been, I think, the most, I don't want to say it's been the most impressive, because I know that you had other stops along your career path, but it's been very impressive because it was something that you weren't necessarily checking for. It wasn't something that you necessarily thought that you were going to reach for, and you got it. And, you're going to kill it. There's no doubt in my mind that you're going to kill it. So
thank you.
Oh, no problem. I mean, I think that's, to me, and that's just me on the outside, but I think going back to what you said, the introvert in you're almost kind of like not really willing to stop and smell the roses and look back at the accomplishments that you've accumulated along the way. The goals that you set and exceeded. The person who you are, you don't really kind of stop and do that. You're always on to, it's almost like a track person. Like you get over one hurdle, you're on to the next hurdle. Like you're not looking back to see, oh, I knocked that hurdle down, but let me try to make sure these next couple of steps are right. So, all right, last question. And this has been a topic of discussion for us, folks. Where would you like to live when you retire?
Florida.
What?
Not Florence. I can tell you that right now.
Ain't nobody living in no damn Florida now. They crazy down there.
Mm-hmm.
Where in Florida?
I need some water. I need to be near some blue water. That'd be great.
You've been around. You've been away from water your whole life, so you need to be around water then.
When I retire, I would like to be around some water.
Okay, so what part of Florida?
I'm not sure what part. If the Gulf would be nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I have me a boat or something, be able to, have a few yacht parties, stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, me, not Florida. Florence, South Carolina.
No, not with me.
That's where I want to retire, y'all. Florence, the hometown. That's where I grew up at. Give me a nice little crib right on Irby Street. Give me a nice porch, and I can sit out there, sip my lemonade, and watch the cars drive by.
All by yourself.
She's shaking her head, y'all.
Mm-mm.
All right, one last question.
You said that no question was the last question.
Okay, what is the last thing? If you won the lottery jackpot tomorrow, what would you do with the money?
Oh, one of the first things I would do is, make sure my parents were straight. But let me back up. One of the first things I would do was get out of Dodge. Let's just say that. Get the hell on from here, pack it on up, and fly someplace with some nice blue water, and everybody that's left behind will receive some type of package with instructions. Right. But seriously, like one thing that I really, really, really would love to do is set up an endowment at South Carolina State University. That would be like life-changing, not only for me to be able to do that, but life-changing for a young collegiate. That would be something, because that would be me giving back generationally to students at our alma mater.
Yes, we are both proud alums of South Carolina State University. That's where we met. I would do that as well. I definitely would establish an endowment at South Carolina State. I probably get a building named after me on campus. See. But the first thing I'm gonna do is the first thing I'll do is, like you said, disappear. I'm going off the grid. There'll be no more podcasts, or if I podcast, it'll be from a remote location. You won't. I mean, and it'll be a couple of months before you hear from me. I'm definitely off of all social medias. And then after that,
you off of social media.
I'm honestly, I'm not even on social media that much now. Not as much as I used to. Social media, I mean, it has its peaks and valleys for me. I even something like Twitter, where I get a lot of information from, but I don't tweet that much at all. I do more looking than anything else. And then after a while, it's like, all right, same for Facebook, same for Instagram. It's there. It's not, it was different for me because it was a tool to connect with people at one point in time. But now, it's so commercialized. So now it's like, you get it for what it's worth, and you don't have to. I don't deal with bots, and I don't argue with people about who's the greatest MC of all time or anything like that. It's just, it's a source of information. But I tweet when I tweet, and then I get off. I say what I got to say, and I get out the way. But the second, I would say probably the third thing I do. Ball out of control. I'm balling all day. But yeah, thank you. That's gonna do it for us. Anything you like to say to the people before you leave, Sherice?
Good night, people. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you again for coming on for your annual visit to the 12 Kyle podcast. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast. As you know, the podcast drops every Thursday at midnight. Be sure to subscribe from time to time. The podcast will drop on on Sundays at midnight. That's going to do it for me. So for me and the love of my life, Sherice, we say peace.
Peace.
Love you.
Love you back.
You better.